Well, hello everyone, welcome back to In My Shed. I'm BC. Today it's back to cutter grinding, but a little bit of a change. I've had some cutters come in from a customer. These are annular cutters, and I've been rattling on for quite some time about equal facet angles, and I disagree with alternate grinding, and bugging me if one of the manufacturers hasn't changed their method of grinding to copy me. And all I'm doing is copying how it was done many years ago. I think a patent must have expired, allowing another manufacturer to pick up the grinding system, but I'll start off here. We're in the kitchen, in my shed. This is where I clean the cutters, and I'll show you my little ultrasonic unit. It has been up on film before, but for those that haven't seen it, it'll be interesting. So I'll get behind the camera again and keep yapping and show you a bit more. This is a little unit, eBay special. I think it was about $36 or something like that. Originally put out as an ultrasonic cleaner for jewellery, etc. But I find on cutters it's really good. I don't normally bring it out of the cupboard unless I've got half a dozen or more, but as I was going to do a rundown on this unusual cutter grind, I thought I'd get back into action. Nothing high tech, just a bit of hot soapy water, a bit of dish drops. Throw the cutters in. They've had about 6 or 7 minutes already, and they're in for another 2. Normally 2-3 minute bursts is enough to get the cutters clean. Once I rinse them off, I'll put them on a bit of paper and see if I can highlight the method they've used to grind them. It's quite interesting. So back soon. Okay, we're back on the cutters again, and man, this has been such a hard thing to get in focus. The odd colour, or the gold colour cutter, doesn't seem to photograph as good as the plain high speed steel, but anyway, now you can see what I'm talking about. I'll try and get a pointer down there on that cutter there. You can see that the 2 facets are very close to being equal, and the dividing line behind the cutting edges is almost concentric with the centre of the cutter. So it means that they're doing the same angle, and for a small cutter it's a very steep angle. I normally do about 12.5 degrees per side. I say they're about 17.5, so they must be using a very thin wheel to do the grinding. Interestingly, in the gullet, I normally grind right through to the core with the gulleting wheel, but they don't. They stop well and truly short of going right through to the core. You can see it on the flute to the right hand side there. They gullet until it breaks through at the end of the cutter, but the depth of the gullet there is much shorter than the depth of the gullet out into the flute. So that might be a little bit of a hint for me. I'm going to try and emulate that gulleting with some of the cutters later on. So I'll see if I can get some of the other cutters into view. Yeah, the lighting isn't real flashing. I've got my good spotlight on it too. The cutter on the right is ground, outside facet, inside facet. That's the sort of alternating geometry that you see on a lot of cutters. And the 2 big ones have already been through the shed here, and it's got equal angle. So I've had those through before. They're still quite grubby even after the ultrasonic clean, so I'm going to have to give them a little bit of a brush before we grind. Okay, we'll get out to the tool and cutter grinder, or gullet them first and then onto the tool and cutter grinder. Just to come back for a quick one, I turned the spotlight off, which is a slightly yellow LED, and just running on the fill light now, the ring light. Had to come up bloody better, so I am learning about it, but that gives you a better view of both the equal facet angles and the gullet not going through to the core of the cutter. Okay, back again. We're at the gulleting grinder. I'll show you the setup, and I just do this offhand. It's quite easy to do. My 40-year-old bench grinder from Bergen Abrasives. Good God, that's a very old machine. I think it's fairly well shot now, but it still works and does a good job. Okay, I'll be presenting the tool up to the gulleting wheel, and as I've said in videos beforehand, and I haven't got my hand in the way this time, the rake angle is changed purely by moving the back of the cutter across. That'll be 0 rake angle because the axis of the cutter is in line with the wheel, and that would be about 20 degrees, 18 to 20 degrees, the spiral angle of the cutter. And then I just plunge in, grind the gullet, withdraw, index around to the next one and plunge in. If I had hundreds of cutters to do, I wouldn't make up a workhead to do the job, but as it is, it seems to run quite okay like this. So I'll start the machine up, and I have already run the machine, especially with thin wheels like this. You want to run it for a little while before you get in front of it and grind, just in case there's been some damage to the wheel. You don't want the wheel flying apart, being able to take your eye out or something. So on with the power. Sorry about the noise, but you did ask for a bit of microphone. So I present the tool holder up to the wheel and just impinge, and that should be plenty. Okay, all done. You can see the gullet is nice and deep now. It'll allow the wheel to escape behind the cutting edge. And I do this job offhand because it's not necessary to machine grind it. All the teeth will present it back to the same height when you regrind the cutting edges. So the gullet, provided you have the rake angle up inside the gullet there at the correct angle, it'll still cut reasonably well. Now I have tried to emulate what the factory were doing with those smaller cutters, but I haven't quite got it right. But I've got a few more to gullet, so I'll keep practicing. Bring it back when I'm sharpening cutters. Okay guys, sorry about the noise. Here's a couple of signs that your wheel needs dressing. One is the awful sound that it makes, a very dull, crying out machine. Also the workpiece starts to overheat. And you can see that the point of engagement is moving further in towards the centre of the wheel. That means the outer edge is no longer cutting. But I'll see if I can get the noise without blowing my head off. I went clear the tooth out. You can see a little bit of smoke coming off the workpiece. And you can see I've got to traverse the tooth well and truly past the point that you should to get it to cut. So that's a sign, time to dress the wheel, which I'll do now. And this now is the same grinding wheel after dressing, engaged by a few more thou. And it sounds just like it should when it's grinding. And notice there no chatter. Just remember there's 5 teeth on this cutter. That is one hell of a difference. I had a bit of a slips dressing the wheel. I'm glad you weren't watching. I think I've got a bit of stick slip in the table. It'd take 1 thou, 1 thou and then 5. So time to clean the table up. Okay, bye for now.